Welcome everyone, my name is Vinny Rodriguez, also known as 8-Figure Vision. I'm here to speak with you today, the next in our vast book series. A book that is very becoming one of my pocket books, if you may say. Just a book that I take everywhere with me just to keep me on my toes. As many of you are aware, I am involved in network marketing, and I've read many of the books, but I will tell you that I would say this book by Clif Braun is one of the most compelling. And the reason why is just that it comes from a genuine standpoint. He's an individual who walks the walk, he talks the talk. And his wisdom speaks volumes through this book. It's a very quick read. It's only about 100 and a half pages here. So, but there's so much content in here, right? Part of it is philosophy. Part of it is implementation, right? Part of it is how-tos. So there's a lot in here that you can definitely apply if you're also in the network marketing, or maybe you're just in business and you want a fresh perspective. Well, this book can definitely serve you well. It really starts with learning more about the individual himself, Clif Braun. And I will tell you guys that I've met this gentleman various times and intend to meet him again many times in the future. I've soaked up so much just from hanging with him, listening to him, watching him present in front of groups of dozens and even hundreds of people, that it's just great to see now all of his philosophies and thoughts, right, and his history, how everything started and where he is today, all in this book, encapsulated. So definitely would suggest to all of you who are really looking for a fresh, especially new way, a new word, a modern approach to network marketing, to pick up that book, right? So we're just gonna go over some thoughts, some notes that I had suggested from the book, right? First things first, who is Clif Braun, right? Clif Braun, he was born out of Utah. I think he just had his 40th birthday recently, but really young from Utah, they moved over to California. And one thing is, him and his brother Dave Braun, they've always strived to make money. A lot of their friends were making money, and they wanted that as well. They were middle class, so they were always looking for ways they could sell stuff, right? And what eventually happened was, very early on he had a friend who he thought was just such a loser, but he had a friend that had tricked him into going to a meeting, right? How many of you are familiar? How many of you have a friend that tricked you into going to a meeting, right? So, and when he went to that meeting, that's where everything changed, right? They talked about the industry. They talked about the professional industry overall, and how the rich are getting richer and the poor are getting poorer, and the poor just end up working for the rich, and it's this vicious cycle. But network marketing is a way out, and he saw it. He definitely saw it. He had asked his parents for weeks and weeks, how do I get the money to get started? I think it was like $700 to get started. But that is kind of the beginning of Clif Braun's journey, over 20 plus years ago now. So what's been so amazing is it was just a friend of his, right? And he saw his friend Tim Herr really start to change his habits, right? From going in a broken down, messed up, junk car to now one that was clean and organized, right? His friend Tim Herr's presentation was better, and he noticed that. So when he went to the meeting and he found out that these similar concepts were being discussed about how to improve yourself and how to make money by really selling, and by getting other people involved, it was just a new world for him. So this is kind of the legacy of Clif Braun, the way it started. And what he says, there's two things in the book. He writes that there's two things that made him successful. He says one is the fear of not making it, and two is the excitement of making it, right? Like, how amazing would it be if, oh my goodness, like, I actually did set out and achieve everything that I wanted to, right? What if I did leverage this network marketing tool as a way towards becoming financially independent, right? Towards becoming my own boss, towards earning a residual income that will pay me month after month, so that I could start to do the things that I always wanted to do. How amazing would that be? So, it was really those two things that had inspired, that kept him motivated to stay in network marketing. And he earned his first million by the time he was 21 or 22 years old. Him and his brother, they were multimillionaires the next year. And they went through a lot of not only successes, but they went through a lot of failing on the way as well. They'd started their own company, and they started a company. They followed one of their mentors. The company failed. Their mentor started another company. It failed, and eventually they started their own company. And it got to a point where they were having over 67,000 people in their downline with over 8 legs, and they were recruiting about 1,000 people a month. I mean, goodness. It's so impressive just to hear the story, and like how it all just grew so much momentum over time. So much momentum. In fact, I definitely have to share this, but they used to fill convention centers. Hundreds of people would line up just to try to get his autograph, and it got to a point where they were doing a promotional video for their new company, which at the time, where they shut down downtown LA and had pretty much what was like a parade of people young people driving down the Lambos. They had a police escort and a helicopter so they could go down the downtown LA. I mean, it was insane, the amount of momentum that they gained. But see, then he goes in to speak about why social marketing, right? It's one thing to call it network marketing, but when you really look at it, it's social marketing. It's a way that we communicate. It's a way that we speak with one another, interact, and relate with one another as humans. See, why is social marketing? Because it's perhaps the best way to make a living. And why is that? Because for 14,000 hours, we were trained to be employees. We were taught to follow instructions. We were taught to do homeworks, to repeat tasks. We were taught to do things that we were told versus doing things that we created, things that we initiated, things that we wanted to do. See, a lot of people are scared of getting a job for commission, right? Where they can earn a commission, and it's because of the way in which we were brought up, the way we were taught, that we were taught to just follow instructions, to just do our job, just to do something, and as we were instructed. And the problem with that is that now we're not our own independent. We're not doing something that we had initially fostered in our own thoughts, right? It's not our idea. We're working someone else's idea, building someone else's dream. You see, that's the issue, right? When really the scarier thing is working a job, knowing that you probably could perform at a much greater potential, although you're not, because you know that you're just going to get the same amount of money every single hour, right? You know that the compensation you're going to get is the same at the end of the week or at the end of every 2 weeks. Like, it's ridiculous, just the sense that, right, everyone, that's where the thank God it's Friday TGIF came from, right? Everyone's looking forward to that one paycheck because they work 2 weeks or 1 week, 40 to 80 hours just for this one paycheck. This pretty much spent in their mind because they spent all of this time trying to get all of this time at work with the intention to use it for something that by the time they actually have the money's already spent in their mind. while they were working. It's ridiculous, right? But versus when you work for commission, or versus when you work for your own purpose and your own goals, then all of a sudden things change. Why? Because now you're being compensated, and this is what Clif Braun talks about. You being now compensated for what you earn. You're being compensated for your performance. As Jim Rohn said, you get paid for what you bring to the marketplace, the value you bring to the marketplace. So the level of value that you bring to the marketplace will ultimately determine your compensation. The other thing, another reason why, well, you're in, if you wanted to start a business, right, open up a franchise, McDonald's, 7-Eleven, anything, easily, it requires about $1 million down payment. Good luck with that, right? And what if you fail? In fact, 97% of businesses fail. Restaurants fail within their first year, and then another 2% fail within their first 5 years. So what is the likelihood that that amount of investment that you put into your business for over hundreds of thousands of dollars is now turning into a debt, right? Versus in network marketing, what's the most that you could possibly lose? Maybe you spend $100, you spend $500 on a product, and now all of a sudden you have your own business. You can write off your own taxes, right? You can manage your own time. You can set your own schedule, right? So even if you failed, what's the worst that could happen, right? But I would also dare you to ask you, even if you succeed, what is the best that can happen? And besides, so many successful people have been or are involved in some sort or own some sort of a network marketing business already. For example, look at our president, Donald Trump. He's been a part of network marketing. Look at people that advocate for network marketing. There's a plethora of them. Warren Buffett has spoken of it before. Tony Robbins, Grant Cardone, all of you 10Xs out there. Richard Branson. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. I mean, celebrities, all types of people have been involved in network marketing. And the reason that they do is because they understand, they saw the vision. So in this book, Clif Braun goes over so much content here. I mean, we also discuss it in this book. Really, how do you choose the right? If those of you who are watching this who are looking to get started in a network marketing business, he'll explain to you what is it that you look for when you first want a company to work with. What are the qualities or the characteristics of a good company to look for, right? He also discusses the key to knowing yourself, right? Your why has to. If your why is big enough, then the how becomes easy. Direct quote from the book. He talks about how do you get started, right? Down to the basics of writing your list and then going how to invite, how to recruit, how to conduct a meeting properly, how to attend a meeting properly, how to train people, right? How much time do you spend doing each one of those things? What's the importance of exclusivity, of urgency, right? All of these very important elements that factor into the success of your business as a network marketer. And these are things that, of course, he has lived and he has done himself as well. There's a big section in this book on personal development, which I would say is, if you're going to read anything in this book, is probably that chapter. And it's all, it has to do with, are you the warm and fuzzy person? Are you the warm and fuzzy person that just lives in this realm of learning and knowing stuff, but not actually applying it? Or are you the person that takes action? Because he has found that the action is what differentiated him from not being successful to being successful. I mean, he talks about energy in this book. I mean, I'm gonna leave you guys with that. All I will say is I don't want to spoil anything in this book because it's just so rich in wisdom that I would suggest all of you pick it up. It's very inexpensive. Highly recommend it. I'd give this book an 8 out of 8. So with that said, ladies and gentlemen, again, my name is Vinny Rodriguez. If you have any questions about network marketing, you have any questions about or social marketing, or that is or maybe business in general, or perhaps on reading, then you can certainly reach out to me. Definitely leave your comments, suggestions, complaints, concerns, anything that sort of just comes to mind. Make sure to share that, because what you share, someone else may also be thinking of and might not have the same courage you have to actually put it out there and to really create that space of having a dialogue. So also, make sure to like and subscribe to my channel. And thanks again. I know this has been a long one, but I felt like it needed the attention, this book specifically. So with that said, my name is Vinny Rodriguez, 8 Figure Vision, signing out for today. Peace and prosperity.